The goal has always been the children. The current drag queen phenomena is no different. Convert kids to liberalism, and if they have any belief in God or any understanding of biblical morality, retrain them through education. And if their parents are conservative or have taught them anything other than what aligns with LGBTQ ideology, draw them away from their parents. A few weeks ago at the American Library Association's annual conference, librarians learned how to sidestep community objections to events like drag queen story hours. One workshop was titled Creating Queer Inclusive Elementary School Library Programming. This and much more with the help of our tax dollars. I'm David Fiorazzo, and this is Christ and Culture. From Hollywood and politics and the government school system to the American Library Association, the systematic rollout of godless moral confusion via drag queens and transgender ideology was planned long ago. If you're just now hearing some of these stories about the exploitation of children, gender confusion, and drag queens, we're in more trouble than I thought. The plan is to force Drag Queen Story Hour into communities across the country. Another workshop at the American Library Conference was called A Child's Room to Choose, encouraging gender identity and expression in school and public libraries. You might be wondering, what does this have to do with the lost art of reading good books? Nothing. The left has simply found yet another way to reach and influence young children. The conference featured bisexual bathroom facilities, of course, and other workshops focused on diversity, so-called equality, inclusion, and race, including instruction on how the United States is a country built on white supremacy. One book on the reading list is called Disrupting Whiteness. Still other workshops taught on how to celebrate queer sex and how to manage pushback from concerned parents. Editor of The Federalist, Joy Pullman, encourages us to note how librarians were told to resist feedback from taxpayers, placing the government and this agenda above American citizens and the will of the people. The American Library Association celebrated Gay Pride Month by calling it GLBT Book Month, and a dispatch was sent out from a small-town librarian with tips on how to be a, quote, secret librarian advocate operative, instructing librarians to sneak LGBTQ books and events into current programs and firmly defend them in the libraries. Advice was offered for when someone challenged or opposed the agenda. Quote, if something is challenged, be ready to listen to the complaint and respond in a calm manner, stating that your library purchases items for all the members of your community. Often in these situations, people just want to be heard. One queer librarian has been working on this agenda since 2010, promoting drag queen and LGBT parties, fundraisers, and advocacy for queer libraries, queer librarians, and those who love them. Thankfully, there are some God-fearing Christian parents and concerned citizens opposing this radical agenda and working to raise awareness about it. One who has been responsible for getting several drag queen events canceled and who has had her share of hits, by the way, is author of Not on My Watch, Elizabeth Johnston, also known as the Activist Mommy. Johnson has had death threats and has had to hire armed security for her and her family due to the tolerant left and activists who hate. She has reported on stories where some libraries have tried to now distance themselves from the Drag Queen Story Hour madness. After Johnston's successful email and social media campaigns to get a few Drag Queen Story Hours canceled, drag queen Selena T. West called on supporters to notify child services about Johnston, apparently saying she's an unfit mother. West also falsely claimed that the activist mommy and her followers called in death threats to the library. Now, this lie provoked actual death threats against Johnston's family. Now, we discussed big tech censorship last week, and in this case, it's not surprising to find out there's also an effort to remove the activist mommy from Facebook. Change.org has a petition to take down Johnston's account for allegedly, quote, violence against or inviting violence against the LGBTQ community and encouraging her followers to spread hate. Remember that truth is hate to those who hate the truth. And also remember, Jesus said, I am the way and the truth. So it's not difficult to understand this worldview. Remove God, his law, and any fixed moral authority, and guess what? Anything goes. And I mean anything. The Bible warns us about men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness and the wrath of God that comes as a result. We're witnessing a cultural transformation from truth to fiction and from the sane to the insane. God has given them over to depraved mind, and history teaches us that there will be consequences. God gave us a conscience. Romans 1:19 and Romans 1:21 states, quote, because that which is known about God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them. For even though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks, but they became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. It all points to the decline of morality in American culture and the increase of wickedness, which Jesus himself predicted as one of the signs we're approaching the end times. As a result of lawlessness and blatant celebration of evil, he said, the love of most will grow cold. But we are still called to expose evil, point people to Jesus, and shine the light of Christ in this present darkness. Peter reminds believers to not be surprised by the intensifying trials of life. Believers are also instructed, do not conform to this world, and don't be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. That's in Romans 12:2 and verse 21. So, watch and pray, friends. Things are about to get more interesting. God bless you and keep speaking the truth about things that matter.